On December 14th, 2025, Hollywood fell into stunned silence. Rob Reiner, the acclaimed director behind some of the most beloved films of the past half-century, and his wife of more than 30 years, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found dead in their Brentwood home. The tragedy, a brutal homicide, shocked not only their family, but the world. Two lives, filled with love, creativity, and devotion, were suddenly taken. The calm of a quiet Sunday afternoon was shattered, revealing the fragility of life even for those who have spent decades telling stories of hope, connection, and human warmth. Discovery of the tragedy: family members discovered the bodies, an image seared into their memory, inside the sanctuary they had called home. The Los Angeles Fire Department received a call around 3:30 p.m., and by the time authorities arrived, Rob and Michelle were already gone. The house, typically a refuge from the glare of Hollywood, revealed no signs of forced entry, and the windows were intact. Nothing suggested the violence that had occurred inside. Investigators were forced to turn their attention inward, toward the family, grappling with the grim reality that this was not an ordinary crime, but an intimate tragedy unfolding behind closed doors. The investigation begins. The Los Angeles Police Department swiftly classified the case as an apparent homicide, transferring it to the Robbery-Homicide Division. The investigation remained ongoing, with no suspect in custody and no official theory announced. The restraint from authorities only deepened the sense of unease. For a family known for their privacy, the silence was almost unbearable. Rob Reiner, a man who rarely sought quiet for himself, left the world with his own story unfinished. The emptiness left behind by this violent act contrasted sharply with the warmth and laughter his films had always brought to audiences. A life of creativity. Rob Reiner's life was one of extraordinary storytelling. At 78, he had created films that transcended the awards and accolades of Hollywood, embedding themselves into the cultural consciousness. From Stand By Me to The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and A Few Good Men, his stories captured the essence of human experience. People remember his films not for their spectacle, but for the emotions they evoked, the feeling that these stories could have happened in their own lives. Reiner's work was a gift, one that now felt heavier, shadowed by the loss of the man behind it. Tributes from across the globe. Within days of the tragedy, tributes began pouring in. Former President Barack Obama remembered Reiner as a storyteller who helped Americans see themselves through deeply human narratives. Politicians like Nancy Pelosi highlighted his ability to combine artistry with civic responsibility, while colleagues in the film industry shared memories of his dedication and kindness. Aaron Sorkin spoke of his guidance on A Few Good Men, while Billy Crystal recalled how Reiner's belief in his actors inspired greatness. Meg Ryan emphasized the safety and trust he created on set. These testimonials painted a picture of a man whose impact extended far beyond cinema, balancing art and politics. Reiner's later years were marked by a vocal engagement with social and political issues. He did not shy away from controversy, nor did he dilute his message. This outspokenness sometimes created a distance between him and audiences, but it also defined him as a figure who valued truth over comfort. His films, once appreciated purely for storytelling, began to enter conversations framed by the present-day cultural and political landscape. Yet he never turned his art into a platform for debate. The tension between his creative legacy and his public persona underscored a life lived fully, with integrity and courage, personal loss and resilience. The death of his father, Carl Reiner, in 2020 at the age of 98, left Rob profoundly affected. Carl had been a guiding presence, a source of protection and encouragement, and his absence marked a turning point in Rob's later life. Despite decades of professional success, he experienced a profound sense of being orphaned in his 70s. It was a reminder that no accomplishment could replace human connection. Rob Reiner carried both the joy and pain of family, understanding deeply the impermanence of life and the fragility of the bonds we hold most dear. Family struggles. Behind the public image, Rob Reiner also endured private struggles, particularly with his son's addiction. This personal challenge, largely unseen by the world, shaped much of his later life. It was a quiet pain, one that he carried even as he continued to create and inspire. The recent tragedy has cast suspicion upon his family, adding another layer of anguish to an already devastating loss. The story is a stark reminder that even those who have achieved fame, wealth, and acclaim are not immune to heartbreak and human vulnerability. The human legacy Reiner's films often explored family, love, and the imperfections of human relationships. They celebrated the ways people endure together despite flaws and failures. In his life, Reiner embodied these themes, facing personal and public challenges with resilience and integrity. His death is a stark contrast to the joy and warmth his films inspired, creating a void not easily filled. Yet his legacy is more than cinematic. It is a testament to the complexity of human life, the capacity for empathy, and the enduring importance of storytelling in shaping how we see ourselves and the world. Reflections on a life well lived. As the world mourns, it becomes clear that Rob Reiner's tragedy was not a lack of success or recognition. His achievements were immense, yet his life was lived on the delicate line between acclaim and doubt, visibility and privacy, expectation and fulfillment. His films about imperfect families and human resilience mirrored his own life experiences. In the end, the story is not only about death, but about the depth of living, about love and pain, and about the quiet moments that define a lifetime. Reiner's life reminds us that brilliance and vulnerability often exist side by side. Conclusion: remembering Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner leaves behind a towering cinematic legacy and a deeply human story of family, love, and the pains that are often unspoken. His work will continue to inspire, provoke thought, and bring comfort to audiences, even as the memory of his passing weighs heavily. The tragedy of December 14th, 2025, reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing those around us. In celebrating his contributions to cinema and humanity, we honor not just the films he created, but the life he lived, a life of creativity, integrity, and profound empathy.